What's up, guys? Cody here with my review for the movie The Batman. I went to go see this yesterday. Had such a great time. If you guys haven't checked out yet, go check out my last video. I did a video of a couple of things that I ended up getting in at the movie theater. One of the things is really cool. So if you have missed out on that, go check it out. It's really awesome. But here are my thoughts on The Batman. This is a one part non-spoiler, one part spoiler, so once we get to the spoiler section, I will definitely be able to let you guys know. So, anyway, The Batman is the newest entrance into the Batman mythos, and it stars Robert Pattinson as the Dark Knight. I gotta say, this was one of those movies that I had a lot of, like, speculation about the movie for quite some time, because it's been announced for like the past 2 years, and because of the pandemic it's been put on hold for quite some time. I've also had some reservations about this movie. I mean, a lot of people have. Most people are very ignorant and think because Robert Pattinson, who played in Twilight as Edward, was going to ruin the film franchise and ruin Batman as a whole. So obviously that is one of the most immature responses I've ever heard, because if you guys haven't seen his acting, he's actually a really good actor. If you guys haven't seen The Lighthouse, which I guarantee you most of you guys out there complaining probably have not, his performance in that movie, he's just a good actor, and I had no reservations about Robert Pattinson as Batman. And after the trailers came out, I seriously didn't have any reservations about it, because he did such a great job delivering the one line that suckered me in. On vengeance. So I am very, very excited to talk to you guys about this movie, if you guys cannot tell. Now, the movie follows, of course, a very naive Bruce Wayne donning the cape and cowl and fighting in Gotham City against all of its thugs. And there is a new, quote, new threat to Gotham City in Paul Dano's The Riddler. And I gotta say, the Riddler, he's really one fucked up fellow. I'm not gonna lie. This movie really did make the Riddler look more like Jigsaw mixed with the Zodiac. It was an interesting take on the character. You know, the thing is about the Riddler, most people are going to think about Frank Gorshin, or they're going to think about Jim Carrey. It's not that type of Riddler. It's not your kid's Riddler. It's definitely your daddy's Riddler, not your daddy's Riddler. I don't know. But the thing is, this Riddler is batshit crazy and absolutely terrifying on the screen. He has literally become a valuable threat to Batman and Gotham City and its inhabitants. And there's a big worry about his impact on, you know, the police of the GCPD and the mob, because he's out here literally offing all of these people. Now, Robert Pattinson as Batman, I think he did a great job. He literally has taken the character and done something different. His naivete as Bruce Wayne and Batman right now, you got to remember this movie's kind of tackling a little bit and trying to be a little resemblant of the Year One story. He's jotting down notes. He's trying to educate himself as he comes back. You know, his tech and everything's very amateur. Well, as amateur as possible, because one of the things in here he uses is pretty badass. But his knowledge and his experience as Batman is only a couple of years old in this movie, and he's still learning. So he is kind of stumbling on himself, and you know, he's getting shot at, he's getting punched, he's taking those punches. But as he's moving on and progressing to become a better Batman or a better vigilante, he's learning from those things. So like I said, he writes things down, he's experiencing these moments to where he can learn from them. And I really enjoyed that. That just shows that we're actually getting a Bruce Wayne Batman who is really naive and isn't able to do the things that we're so used to seeing Batman do. Like, for instance, there's a scene where he's flying and he just straight up hits a fucking bus. It's like, wow, you know, interesting concept. A very naive and unexperienced Batman. I like it. It's not someone who's just straight up pummeling villains without consequences. He's literally experiencing these consequences as they happen. So I love it. I love it. Other characters, Selina Kyle. She's not entirely referenced as Catwoman, although she kind of plays with the notion. I have a problem with strays, or don't worry, I got 9 lives, the bat and the cat. She's not fully named herself yet. As a matter of fact, these characters in some ways haven't really adapted to their identity yet. I guess it's kind of like Gotham, you know? These characters are young and, you know, haven't become the full-fledged characters that we're so used to. And that's what we're experiencing in this movie, you know? So, Selina Kyle, I think Zoe Kravitz did a great job. I feel like she was not as liked as I wanted her to be. I feel like, you know, her character, it's not that she's a terrible actor, I just feel like her character was written in a way where it just wasn't, as I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite here, it didn't seem like she was as Catwoman-y as I wanted her to be, you know? Because I get that the character's not developed yet. It just seems like some of the things that happened in this movie that I can't talk about until I get to the spoiler section, it did seem like she was... It seems like she was just a very vengeful person, not someone who just went out and thought about herself. She was selfless in some ways, which in this case, I really kind of enjoyed, but it took away from Catwoman being a master thief and only thinking about herself, because that's why Batman and Catwoman had that weird dance around. Like, they actually had some kind of relationship promise. Like, it was almost promising like there could have been a relationship that came from it, because Batman flirted with actually being with a cat burglar and a bad guy. So it was always interesting seeing that duality possibly forming into a relationship of some sorts. But in this case, it's, you know, it's not about being a cat burglar. It's not about snatching, grabbing, like, items that are resembling cats or jewels or whatever. It's about revenge, and that just didn't seem very Catwoman-y for me. And again, I will get to that later. Paul Dano's Riddler. Man, as I said before, earlier, his Riddler is nuts. But in the spoiler section, which I'm not going to... Again, I'm referencing this because I don't want to stumble and say a spoiler. His character and how he was born to become that character, they actually put some sort of a tragic explanation into this character's development from a young age into what he became. And it was very intriguing to see that. You see, the Riddler in general has always been that character who was so obsessed with puzzles and riddles that he became, like, he was in a job of some sorts. Whether, like, in Gotham, he was in the GCPD, and also in Batman the Animated Series, he actually worked for, fuck, I forgot his name. Starts with Mockridge. Yeah, he was like a theme park owner. I had to think for a second. You know, he fired Edward Nygma and stole his game and his design. There isn't some kind of like a revenge towards like a boss or anything. It's a revenge towards Gotham as a whole. And he's taking it out on Gotham. So I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that there's actually some kind of stakes and a reason for the Riddler to actually do these things. I like when characters like his are written in a way where you can at least be like, you know, you actually have a valid reason to do this, it just doesn't mean it's right. I mean, when the Riddler did something really bad, it was really fucked up. And when I say bad, I mean he, again, is almost Jigsaw quality. He is putting these corrupt cops in traps. He's blowing them up. He's sitting here dismembering them, beating the shit out of them, duct taping their faces shut. And it's like, wow, what a different Riddler. Way to go, I guess, Matt Reeves. You did a good job. It definitely made the Riddler into something that I would have never really thought about. A homicidal, Jigsaw, Zodiac combo. Interesting. Andy Serkis as Alfred. I actually really enjoyed his performance. He definitely plays the part very well. He's very caring towards Bruce. He's accepting of Bruce's choice to be Batman. Later on in the movie, there is some kind of stakes between Bruce and Alfred. We'll get to that later. I just, there's just some things about one specific scene in the movie, as I'm letting it roll through my head a little bit. Alfred making the decision to hold back the truth from Bruce, which is in the trailer, by the way, because you hear Bruce saying, "You've lied to me, Alfred, after all these years." And I'll bring that up later. It's kind of really hard to accept because it has to do with Bruce's parents. So I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to spoil anything. Colin Farrell is the Penguin, probably the most entertaining part of this movie. I personally feel like he knocked it out of the park with the character. He's funny as hell. He's very, very intriguing as a character. I just feel like he was not on the screen enough. So by the end of the movie, I'll explain this later, but I feel like I'm hoping to see more of him in the future. Okay. This guy that plays Jim Gordon, I didn't really look up the actor, but I really loved him as Jim Gordon. His camaraderie with Batman, they're a very funny duo. It's like a comedy cop, like buddy cop thing that they have going on there. And some of the banter that they have, especially one part in a police station where, damn, I can't say certain things. Just one part of the police station, there is a situation that happens that I was laughing so hard at. And I'll explain it in the spoilers in a second. But yeah, as far as like everything else in this movie, I literally give it a solid maybe 8 out of 10. I think the pacing is the biggest issue with this movie. The character development's great. The look of the movie's great. The soundtrack is amazing. I absolutely love this soundtrack. Of course, Matt Reeves said that he based the soundtrack around Nirvana, so I really enjoy that. Great soundtrack. The action is great. I love it. I really love it. So, if you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But guys, at this point, this is where the spoiler section is going to come in, so, yeah. Go away. Leave. Are you gone? I mean, I've warned you. Shut the damn door. Just shut the door. Get out. Bye. Go. You've been warned. Alright, guys, so, the spoilers in this movie. Let me knock out the first one, because this one, towards the end of the movie, is actually kind of a little surprising in many ways. One, I kind of under my breath said, again? Really? That's playing it too safe. Okay, I will explain. By the end of the movie, when the Riddler's been captured and he's in prison, he has a little bit of a conversation with a cellmate that is next to him. And it is exactly who you say it is. As a matter of fact, that's what Matt Reeves said in a recent interview. It is who you think it is. Because there is a cackling laughter going on behind closed doors. You don't see him. You just see a shadow and a little bit of a grin. But you don't see him. And I'm sitting there going, is that the Joker? Why are we doing this again? Like, it's playing it way too safe for me. We've had really good Jokers in the past. I feel like other villains deserve a little bit more of a redemption. For me, it's Mr. Freeze. I really want to see Mr. Freeze come back. But that's just my personal preference. But, yeah, no. That was kind of an interesting little turn of events, hinting at a sequel. By the way, there is really not that big of an end credit scene at the end of the movie. It's more of like a... It's kind of a nod-ish thing to... like it's like the Riddler typing something out with a question mark and a riddle and a website domain and stuff like that. It's nothing really to write home about. But very interesting concept, this Riddler, I'm telling you. He is definitely more of like an online like truther throughout the when it comes to Gotham and his purpose as to why he's doing these things. It's because he grew up in an orphanage. He's an orphan. And he's taking it out on the city. because there are certain things that ended up happening through corrupt politics, corrupt GCPD officials, and even Bruce Wayne. He's taking everything out on all of these people. And it really kind of made me be like, wow, there is actually a reason for his existence. It's, again, like I said, not losing a job or anything like that. He legit feels like he was done wrong as an orphan. And he blamed Thomas Wayne. He blamed Bruce Wayne for being born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And he blamed all the corrupt politicians. That's really all it is. But he has an online vlog, and he's recruited shit tons of people who empathize with him. And, well, I guess we have our own little mercenary group ready to pull out the snipers. And by the end of the movie, he has a whole sect literally going out there and doing his bidding while he's in prison. So that was interesting. Everybody was dressed up like the Riddler. Same look and everything. And Batman's just sitting there mowing them the fuck down, you know, the way he is. But it was really interesting. The Riddler had a really good backstory. And then, you know, I feel like Paul Dano was actually a really, really, really good Riddler for what he was. It wasn't like I'm not used to any other Riddler outside of one that's obsessed with puzzles and stuff like that, you know? And, yeah, really, really cool. Bruce Wayne as Batman, again, talking about the things that happened with him. His camaraderie with Alfred and Commissioner Gordon. Mostly Commissioner Gordon. It's funny as hell. Okay, there are a few moments in the movie where I was just laughing. It's like I shouldn't be laughing at Batman with these sly-ass jokes that he's throwing out there. There was a scene where Jim Gordon was telling him, you need to get out of here, because everybody was ready to rip his mask off and reveal the truth about Batman. He said, you need to get out of here, go out this door, here's the key. And he's like, you're going to have to punch me. When he punches him, it's like he really decks him. He comes up to the bat signal. It's like, you could have held your punch. Held your punches back. And he's like, I did. I was like, this guy, really, that's funny. Yeah, and the thing is that I feel like Jim Gordon and Batman have more of a buddy cop thing going on than anything, so it's really cool, especially when they interrogate the Penguin and all kinds of stuff. That was great. Speaking of the Penguin, by the end of the movie, after Carmine Falcone is killed, you know, he's obviously going to be the new Kingpin of Gotham, the head guy. And I'm very interested in seeing how that develops, because Colin Farrell as the Penguin was just easily one of the most likable characters in this movie. I thought he was great. I really enjoyed that. And since we're talking about Carmine Falcone, who is played by the Jesus, or Sector 7's douchebag from Transformers, I really think that he is definitely one of the worst Carmine Falcones I've ever seen. And that's just my personal opinion. I've seen better Carmine Falcones in Batman Begins and even Gotham. More of that, you know, mob boss, cliche attitude. This guy just, I can't never tell his characters apart sometimes, you know? And it's hard to watch him on screen sometimes because I'm just like, God, this guy is so funny and everything else. That's all I'm seeing. So, but yeah, and the other thing that I just really was not a big fan of when it involved Carmine Falcone had to do with Catwoman, or Selina Kyle. She just sat there and name dropped the fact that Carmine Falcone was her father. I was just like, what the hell? Why do you need to do that? She already had a reason to kill him, not just because it was his dad. Her whole drive throughout this movie was because of some German girl, I think she was German, something like that, who went missing, and she ended up finding her dead body at the back of his car. And we find out that she killed his mother, or he killed her mother. And I'm just like, wait a minute, which is more important now? What was your drive? You're just gonna drop this at the ass end of the movie? What was the point of that? I didn't understand that. I was just like, what? There's no reason for that. But it happened. Okay. Very interesting, I guess. But everything about this movie was unique. It was a different take on the Batman. And I thought it was a great movie. It definitely had its pacing issues, like I said. It definitely had some really big stumbles with character development. It's playing it too safe in certain areas of the movie, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Yeah, finally, I can say I've talked about this movie. Anyway, guys. What did you guys think about the movie? Comment below. Tell me what your least favorite part of the movie was, if you guys want to. Just if you guys are watching this and not wanting spoilers, don't look at the comments. But guys, thanks for watching. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back with more videos soon. I'll talk to you guys later.